I'm no longer willing to negotiate my internal harmony with the expectations of what the world expects.
Yeah.
Especially now that what I know about the frequency that we emit out into the world, and that frequency is all coming from a place of your internal resonance. The more I become embodied and in tune with my true nature and aligned with really noticing and experiencing my internal world, the more I look at these signals from my body as these loving gestures of hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you rebalance and find homeostasis.
Free to be me, free to sing sweet feathers and let me like
So much of our lives are shaped by scripts we never consciously chose. Patterns around love, success, safety, and belonging. And at some point, those scripts stop working. What once protected us starts to limit us. Safe to be Seen is a space for honest conversations about that moment, when your body knows it's time for something new. We talk about what it means to build safety first, so growth, intimacy, and expansion don't come at the cost of yourself. This podcast is about updating outdated identities, softening survival patterns, and learning how to stay present through change. We're Darci and Brandon, and this is Safe to Be Seen. Well, it's so good to be back.
We're back.
In front of the cameras and mic'd up and ready to get back into the podcasting. We took a little break there for a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But I'm excited.
Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting to be back.
Yeah.
We missed it. We needed a break. We'll talk about that, but we really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, our last episode aired in October, and so a couple months we stepped away for just a little bit, unplanned, and sometimes that's just the way life goes.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot actually during these last couple of months, and we wanted to share that with the listeners. We'll talk a little bit about why we stepped away for a couple of months, why we took a break, and what was going on in our lives, and we're excited to share that with you and also share with you what we learned. So
yeah. We I think a big theme of what we want this episode to be today is, our overall theme of our podcast is rewriting scripts and rewriting stories and updating identities that feel more true and more aligned with our true natures. And a part of that is when you are going through updates, when you're updating identities, when you are going through big changes and transitions in your life, that calls for a time of recalibration and of slowing down and letting body kind of catch up to your new identity and your new way of being. And we had people tell us don't pause, don't take a break, you're gonna lose momentum, don't do it.
yeah.
But I think for me, with where I'm at in my life, I'm no longer willing to negotiate my internal harmony with the expectations of what the world expects.
Yeah.
And especially now that what I know about the frequency that we emit out into the world, and that frequency is all coming from a place of your internal resonance. And if that is out of alignment and chaotic, that's what you're going to be emitting out to the world. And I think we've just both needed a time to pause and recalibrate and restructure some things. And it was good. It was necessary. It was needed. And so I think this episode is an invitation, an offering, and maybe just an opportunity for people to give them permission to take pauses and breaks and recalibrate, and what can be born from that. So.
Yeah, very well said. It's so easy to get caught up in doing more. That's the way we are. We're conditioned that way. We're in a kind of a hustle culture, a do more culture, a society that thrives on busyness. And what's really, really important about living in alignment with your truth, your authentic, deep truth, is knowing that it's okay to slow down.
Mhm.
It's okay to rest.
Mhm. Oh, well, it's necessary.
You're actually not in a race.
Mhm.
You're actually not trying to reach some destination as fast as you can and before everyone else.
Mhm.
That's actually not what's happening. And when you can realize that, it changes everything. When you allow yourself, when you give yourself the space to do nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not that we haven't been doing nothing.
We'd actually be doing a lot.
We've been doing a lot, but our point is, we wanted to highlight, in having taken a couple of months away from podcasting, that, and very, very importantly, to your point, against the recommendations of a lot of people that were like, big mistake. If you don't keep releasing episodes every week, you're going to lose momentum. It's never going to come back. And again, like, you either you live your life according to how you're told to do things based on the perceptions and beliefs of others,
Mhm.
or you live your life in alignment with your truth.
Yeah.
And we choose to do the latter.
Mhm.
And yeah, so what are some of the things that you learned over the last couple of months, Darcy, that, or what have you been doing? Kind of catch us up to speed on where you're at and what you learned from this idea of resting, of cycles,
Mhm.
of being overdoing.
Yeah. Well, my period of rest has been, I feel like it's been this whole entire year, actually. You know, I have felt more physically tired this year. And I realized, we've been through so many identity updates and shifts and transitions and rewriting stories the past few years that my body needed an opportunity to catch up with all that was happening. And I didn't look at it as like a sign of weakness or there must be something wrong with me. The more I become embodied and in tune with like my true nature and aligned with really noticing and experiencing my internal world, the more I look at these signals from my body as like these loving gestures of like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you rebalance and find homeostasis. And so I think a lot of times when people start feeling like exhaustion, there could be several factors that may be, creating that. But for me, because I become so much more in tune with my body, I knew that it was like my body was just trying to catch up with all of this rewiring and updating. And, we went through so many transitions in such a short amount of time, not because we wanted to, it just kind of naturally happened that way. And so I feel like this whole year has been a year of like finding deep rest. And for me, that hasn't looked like we still have jobs. We still are parents. We still have communities we're a part of. It doesn't mean we just like,
We still work out every day.
yeah, it
We
doesn't,
still go on hikes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like we're just taken up to a cabin in the woods and which sounds nice sometimes,
We did
honestly.
take off to the cabin in the woods a couple of times,
Yeah.
like over a couple of weekends,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But my form of rest this year has come in very like subtle micro moments throughout the day. And sometimes it's meant going to bed like at 7 or 8 o'clock. And because I really needed that sleep. But for me, more so it's looked like finding moments throughout the day of pause and rest of in between clients, it would mean like pausing and like feeling my feet on the ground, my back up against the chair, going outside intermittently throughout the day and just like feeling the sun on my face, swinging in our hammock occasionally.
Mhm.
Rest for me this year has been not so much, again, like collapsing and not doing nothing. It's taking rest from things that my body is asking me to take a rest from. And that has looked like, waking up early on Saturday mornings and going on a hike and being in nature and drinking my coffee a little bit more slowly in the morning. It's looked like actually the other day I was thinking like I haven't been to Costco in a year and a half. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. No, I didn't.
That's huge.
That is.
I just kind of stopped going and now I do Walmart delivery to my door.
Mm.
And Amazon and Walmart delivery have become my best friends.
Yeah, they're so nice.
Yeah.
So convenient.
Yeah. I started turning off my social media after 5 o'clock at night and on the weekends, um, creating more boundaries with my time and who I spend it with. Turning off the TV at night. Those are the types of deep rest I think that our body is really needing. I started spending more time in play. Play is a form of rest.
Yeah.
Not, you know, worrying so much about like what other people expect of me, but just really trying to stay present with like the everyday things that I'm doing. And that looks like I'm not perfect at it. Like it's just what I've been learning. That's what I've been learning this year
Mm.
is presence is a huge lesson I've learned in 2025.
Yeah.
And, when I'm like washing the dishes, like am I feeling the temperature of the water in my hand on my hands? Am I looking outside my window and like watching nature and watching birds and hearing the birds? When I'm with you and when I'm with the kids, am I being fully present with you? Am I tuning um anything that I'm doing when I'm cooking? Am I like taking an opportunity to like smell my food and listen to the sounds of like chopping up a potato and the smells in the kitchen? Like that really is where you find so much abundance in life when you can just be in the practice of presence. And presence isn't something that you like willpower your way to. It's an experience that you create with inside of yourself that really allows for your body to catch up with your everyday life that you're doing. And when we override our systems, that's when we experience burnout,
Yeah.
no? So it really has been a lot for me about like micro everyday practices of finding stillness, of finding quiet, of being in nature, of taking pauses. Even like a pause, taking a pause before you respond to somebody. When you're in conversation with somebody, you're allowed to pause and be still for a second and think about what your response is, you know? I've been much better about allowing myself, like, not having to feel like I have to text somebody back right away. Maybe it's the day later, that's okay. We've become so conditioned to think that we have to do things a certain way, and our bodies, our nervous systems were just not created to live in that type of a rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that look like for you this year?
Well, this year was, if we're, talking about the year, it was a year of a lot of expansion and growth and um, getting into alignment with my truth. And um, this year, I feel like I really started to come alive.
Mm,
A lot of energy. Um, but what's interesting is, I would say around October, when, just coincidentally, when we took a break from podcasting around the same time, I started to feel, and also coinciding with the change in seasons and the cyclical, you know, with the cycles of nature.
mhm,
Around October, I started to feel a little tired. I started to feel a slowdown a little bit in my energy. I started to kind of feel, in fact, I had actually had a really beautiful experience in a meditation that I did around that time where I was reminded that although sometimes in life we may feel like, if we're going to use like a caterpillar and butterfly analogy, like that maybe we've already transitioned from caterpillar to butterfly
Mm.
and we've got our wings. And I think we do over and over and over again throughout life. But I was in this meditation around the same time. I think it was in October sometime when I realized that I had been just living with so much peace and energy and alignment and creativity. And in this meditation, I was kind of reminded that it's okay. Like, actually, you need to realize that sometimes you are still a caterpillar and you need to just make your way quietly right back into that cocoon and just spend some time in there,
Mm.
and you'll come out, and you'll come out with new wings. But it was like this remembering of it's okay to, like, you don't have to be always high energy, always a 10 out of 10, always like it's okay to just rest for a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? And so for me, rest looks like, I'd say number one, lots of time in nature, lots of time outdoors, sun on the face, breeze on my skin. Um, I like to hike, a lot of hiking. Um, a lot of breath, like breath for me is really important. So I really enjoy, like, resting for me looks like being very aware of my breath.
Mm.
It really helps ground me. It really helps me be present, and it really helps me get out of my head and into my body. So, um, like you mentioned, we don't watch TV,
Did you just watch
especially.
Breaking Bad?
Yeah, we did a Breaking Bad
Series.
binge series,
Yeah.
but because we had some friends tell us we had never seen it.
Mm-mm.
We had heard of it, of course. It's like one of the most popular shows to ever be created, but we had some friends recently who were just appalled that we had never seen it. Kind of challenged us to watch it, so we did. But
Once me and you start a series though, like we cannot, it's like we binge like 5 episodes at a
yeah,
time. It's fun though.
yeah. But like we don't watch TV usually, and we don't watch the news.
No, if you want to dysregulate your nervous system in a very quick way, watch the news.
Yeah, I really think, and you can say, well, I need to be informed about what's going on. Yeah, I understand that. I just don't think we are created, nor are we wired from a nervous system stance to know all the horrific things that are happening around the entire world. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's pretty overwhelming to our system.
Mhm.
And yeah, anyway, so yeah, just I still I, I still feel amazing. Like, I feel very energized. It's like it's just coming to a very keen awareness that it's okay to, like, to pause and to rest.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think something else I've also been trying to really align myself in my life is aligning my life with the cycles and the rhythms of nature.
Mhm.
Our nervous systems did not evolve from an iPhone, from a calendar, from an office space.
Yeah.
They evolved from relationship with nature. That is our true being, that is our true essence, is we are nature ourselves. And our bodies were meant to be in rhythm with the cycles of nature. And I think this is why, you know, I think this is why people honestly get so sick in winter because we are overriding our own biology.
Mhm.
And, when you think about like end of year, it's like end of year quarter stuff, end of year tests, holiday parties, all the shopping, all the buying. Um, like there's just so much doing this time of year that our systems are, it's like our systems either have to choose between being in more of a deep state of rest right now or choosing this way of conditioned being that society has like put us in these, you know, environments where there's just like so much going on right now. And none of it's bad. Like the holiday parties, like the shopping, the buying, the all the doing is not bad essentially. But we weren't created to this, especially this season, winter. We were not created to be doing so much right now.
Mhm.
And I think honestly, that's why a lot of people get sick this time of year because we are overriding our own biology. Winter asks us to go inward. Winter asks us to find stillness. Even with like it getting darker earlier, um, that increases melatonin naturally within ourselves. And so it's our biology asking us to slow down and to prepare like the fertile ground for what is wanting to be born in the springtime. And I've really tried to like slow down a lot this season and to give myself opportunity to rest and to go inward. And it's also the year of the snake
Mm.
if you're into that stuff. But a huge shedding season going on of releasing false limiting beliefs, old identities, things that no longer serve us. And that can be exhausting to a body and to a nervous system. Like it's you when you're updating and like shedding old identities and becoming somebody new, it's not so much about behavior. It's literally like a biological, neurophysiological system that's happening inside of you.
Yeah.
And you're rewiring new neural pathways toward a new identity. That can be energetically
A
expensive.
lot of energy goes into that.
Yeah, and exhausting.
Yeah.
And if you don't give your body a time to like recalibrate during that phase, you're going to notice that you're going to retreat back into old patterns and an old way of being.
Mhm.
There's so much to be said about integration. Nature is integrating all the time.
Yeah.
And it just allows for like the natural um, contraction and expansions all the time, and
Mhm.
the death and the rebirth cycle, you know? And I think we become so out of touch with our true natures in that way. And our bodies are suffering because of it.
Yeah, they get worn down.
Yeah.
Well, part of going back to you asking me what my rest looked like, part of my rest period also has included, I've spent, I mean, if you want to just include the time I've spent in my profession in private practice orthodontics, 15 years, but it's actually been more than that going back into my training, using my hands, you know, to do my work. And over the last several years, I noticed I started to experience some numbness and pain in my hands and in my right arm. And um, I've been seeing a doctor for the last couple of years and getting some treatments done, but it got to the point where those treatments weren't helping anymore. And so we had to take the next step, which was surgery.
Mm.
And so I took the opportunity during this rest period for me during this time of like, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit and slow down just a little bit. Let's go inward a little bit more. And I was able to get, you know, carpal tunnel surgery on my right side to help. I had some other surgeries in my elbow that needed to be done, and that really, really slowed me down. And
Mm.
it was really difficult at first, to get used to not having my number one instrument, my number one tool, my right arm and hand being right side dominant. And, but then really, really quickly into that experience, I realized that this was a beautiful opportunity for me to just slow down a little bit.
Mhm.
Like when you don't have the use of your dominant limb and your dominant hand, I mean, I had to learn how to like brush my teeth with my left hand. I had to like tie my shoes one-handed. Just so many eat left-handed, so many things that we just take for granted
Mhm.
when we're in rush mode, when we're in go, go, go mode. And it's kind of like, when you made mention of simply, there's the old saying, stop and smell the roses. But like when you were talking about when I'm cooking, am I actually smelling the food? When I'm eating, am I actually tasting the food?
Mhm.
When I'm drinking my coffee, am I actually enjoying it, slowly sipping it, really enjoying the flavor, like tasting it?
Mhm.
When I'm on a walk, am I in my head just the whole time? And before I know it, and the walk's over and I realize, whoa, I just missed my walk. Or am I actually using my senses to know what's going on around me?
Mhm.
Am I, you know, connecting to my body to feel what is my body feeling? Where am I sore? Where am I achy? Where am I tight? Where do I feel light? You know? And having a cast, because they did elbow surgery, my cast went up almost to my shoulder, all the way down to my hand. Um, it just made me have like really slow down and really be aware of my body because now I'm doing things differently. Try brushing your teeth with your left hand. It's weird. And you have to be like, "Oh, wow, this is actually really different." Like, it's a really interesting because you have to, like, be in the moment because it's different. It's
Mm.
new,
Mhm.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it's also a great way like, doing things different than you usually have always done them is also a great way to create actually new neural pathways inside of your body for expansion.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm really, really grateful. I'm not just saying that. Like, people be like, "Oh, that sucks. You're in that cat." And I'm like, "No, it's okay."
Yeah.
Like, I was really grateful that it gave me, like, this it was like a free ticket because again, like we're stuck in this hustle culture where you gotta keep up. You feel like you do.
Mhm.
And this experience for me gave me like a pass. Like it was like, here, Brandon, you get a pass for a couple of months. You don't have to keep up. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like
So needed.
I still did a lot of the same things. But you know what I mean? Like it forced me to slow down. It
Mhm.
forced me to do things in a new, different way,
Mm.
which like to your point, that's so good for your neurology, your rewiring of neural pathways, your nervous system, your brain chemistry.
Mhm.
So, so important. Novelty is so, so important.
Yeah.
And I felt that. I felt like, man, this is awesome. Like, oh my gosh, I'm eating with my other hand. I haven't ever done this before. I'm so grateful. It increased my gratitude for my body. It increased my gratitude for this right arm and hand. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a really good experience actually.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I also think that we have become so, conditioned to believe that if you slow down, that means you're not gonna get anything done. You're not going to accomplish anything. You're not gonna make as much money. You're not going to, like, be able to get everything done that you need to, and we've tied that to, like, our worth and our
yeah.
identity. And, there is good reason for that, for people who have a hard time slowing down, because probably at some point in their past, slowing down meant danger.
Mhm.
When you think about and speaking about, like, trauma and people kids, or if you grew up in, like, a really chaotic environment, or when the house got quiet and maybe bad things happened at night, maybe dangerous things happened to you at night, Um, and so rest from like a trauma standpoint can be dangerous to somebody. And so in those situations, it's retraining your nervous system to be able to find safety in rest and in slowing down. And also, like, we're conditioned again, like by our culture, to always have to be doing and grinding and going and outperforming and, the 5 a.m. club of like getting everything done before 9 o'clock in the morning. And it's just, we're just, I think, overriding our systems in so many ways. We just were not created to do life that way. And, it's funny because when I think back about this past year, about this year really being about finding a lot of deep rest within myself while still doing life. You know, there's some things that I've like let go of and I haven't been participating anymore to be able to find like deeper rest within myself. But when I think back about this year, like I've also like co-authored a book. I created a deck of neurosomatic um, tools. I created a library full of like somatic meditations. We started this podcast. I became busier in my practice, and so my point is that rest and creation go hand in hand,
Yeah.
and that you actually are so much more productive in incredible ways, actually, when you allow your body to take rest from the things that is not resonant.
Yeah.
We're energetic beings, and there's resonant energy that our bodies align with, and there's also like that chaotic, stagnant, dense energy. And so you needed like something I teach a lot to my clients is like deciding what type of energy you are allowing into your system every day. Screens is dense energy, harmful relationships, not creating boundaries for yourself, the food that we put inside of our bodies, all of that is like stagnant, dense energy that our bodies will not respond to. And resonant energy is like connection throughout the day with yourself and with other people, like safe connection. Nature is the most resonant energy that you could ever be in creation with. People, when you talk about like grounding, is this like this woo, like only tree huggers do?
Mhm.
No, there's like actually biological benefits from grounding
Mhm.
and taking a pause in the middle of your workday and go take your shoes off and socks and go sit in the grass.
Yeah.
You will feel better. There's science and to back all of this up. It's resonant energy that our bodies respond to. Before we close, I want to speak to the woman who can feel it. Something inside her is changing. Winter is the season that asks us to go inward, pause, feel, so something new can be born. Descent is an 8-week nervous system based journey for women moving through transition, when the old ways stop working and the body is asking for depth instead of direction. This isn't a mindset course or a push through program. It's a body led, cyclical, and designed to help you release survival identities and come back home to yourself. We work with rest, regulation, and subconscious patterning, creating safety in the body so what's true can emerge. You'll have lifetime access, a place you can return to whenever life calls you into another winter. If your body has been asking for pause, inwardness, and real change, this is your invitation. Descent is open now. The link is in the show notes.
Yeah. And a couple more ideas I wanted to bring up that helps me. These ideas help me to slow down, to ground, like we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
The first is, and this is a big one for me, and I hope that you'll be able to back me up on this. But I changed the way I drive.
Mm.
Think about it. When we get in our cars and we are en route to wherever we're headed, most of us, especially I'm speaking from a man's perspective. Although you drive way faster than me.
That was
But
debatable.
listen, I'm just gonna please guys, if you're listening, just just try this. When you get in your car or your truck and you're headed to wherever you're going, don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a rush. Don't think that you're in a race. Like we think we're actually in a race with the other people in the other cars around us. Like, well, maybe this is just me. I don't know. But I swear it feels like it's like Mario Kart out there,
Mhm.
you know? Like just slow
Everybody
down.
slow down.
You're not listen, especially like if you're driving a long distance, several hundred miles, let's say, or more, and you increase your speed, your rate of speed increases by 5 miles an hour, it's gonna make a difference. You're gonna get there, several minutes earlier. Listen, when you're driving in town, which is 90% of our commuting time, if you go 5 to 10 miles an hour faster than the speed limit, let's just say, you're not gonna get where you're going any faster in any appreciable, like, significant difference. So, I just realized, you know what? When I drive, I'm gonna drive the speed limit. I'm gonna actually, I set the cruise at the speed limit now everywhere I go, even in town.
Mhm.
And it's no longer important for me to, like, "Oh, I gotta hurry and get in front of that guy so I can, get get to the exit." No, I'm just gonna back off, actually. I'm gonna get behind that guy and just I'll get there.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, just slow down with
Mm.
your driving. I promise it helps. It's a big one for me,
Mhm.
okay? Um, Slowing down while driving is, for men, I think, a really big one.
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to recalibrate your nervous system, heal your nervous system, and calm down from being in a sympathetic state for so long, slowing down is actually essential for your nervous system to recalibrate. And it's like we've talked about, it doesn't mean you stop life, you quit your job, you quit parenting, and you just like sit around all day long. It means finding moments of slowness and stillness throughout the
Mm.
day. It means like not having your phone by you while you're eating dinner and slowing down while you're eating.
Yeah, that's a big one
Like,
too. Like, we eat so fast,
yeah,
don't we? As a especially in the United States, like, with our culture,
yeah.
we we eat so fast.
Mhm.
It's not only not well, it's several things. You're not getting the full pleasure of, like, eating. The pleasure of eating is it's very pleasurable
Mhm.
to eat good food.
It's the best.
But and we might, "Oh, that's really good," and we recognize that it's good, but we're eating it so fast. Like, just slow down and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But number 2, it's, like, from a physiological standpoint, like, digestion and processing of those nutrients and that that part of it is enhanced and facilitated if it's slowed down.
Mhm.
And then from a nervous system standpoint, like, it's just like anything that you're doing in a rapid, fast pace, like driving, eating, things that you don't need to do fast, you're telling your nervous system that there's a threat.
Mhm.
That's all like, if you're driving aggressively, you're driving fast, you're cutting people off, you're weaving in and out of traffic, and maybe if you have a legit emergency, okay. But I would go out on a limb to say that almost all of that driving that we see
Mhm.
like that, there's no emergency. What you're doing is you're signaling to your nervous system that there's a problem, that there's a threat, and you put yourself into that hyper arousal state,
Mhm.
that sympathetic nervous system state, where you're increasing the release of stress hormones, you're increasing the rate of the heartbeat, you're increasing your blood pressure. Like, all of these things are happening that don't need to happen. Just take a break, just slow
Yeah.
down.
What our nervous systems work off of input and output.
Mhm.
And so our nervous systems are always trying to regulate us. They're always trying to bring us back to homeostasis, but based upon the input that we're giving it is the output we're going to see. So, when you talk about like repatterning and reorganizing your life and the internal effects that you feel from that. It comes from the patterns of your life. If you are always going at a fast pace with everything, then the output of that is going to be a frenetic, chaotic nervous system. If you are not willing to change the patterns of your life, your system is going to orient to those patterns. And that has to do with every pattern. We've talked about them so many on this episode, but performance, people pleasing, um, you know, living in this high stress hustle culture, self abandonment, you know, your nervous system is going to orient based upon the input that you were giving it. And that has to do with everything,
Yeah.
with the ways that we're allowing ourselves to be in nature and feel again like that resonant energy from nature. You're going to feel better internally by doing that. The food that we put inside of our systems, the pace at which we do things. This is the type of rest that we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. And I want to say too, one thing, you made a brief mention of it, but I want to elaborate just a little bit because it's been a big part of my rest period too, or at least this season of protecting my energy,
Mhm.
I'll say. And that is being mindful of people that may be draining my energy, you know? And what I mean by that is, for me, if I'm surrounded by a lot of complaining or negativity or gossiping, I notice that has an effect on my energy. And I'm now very much more protective of my own energy, and I try to avoid those kinds of situations. I try to really avoid getting myself into situations where I'm surrounded by negativity.
Mhm.
Um, and that's been really helpful.
It's important.
Yeah.
We all affect each other. We are all living in this web
Mhm.
where our nervous systems are always co-regulating and attuning to other bodies.
Yeah.
And that's what I spoke to you earlier about creating energetic boundaries and protecting that for yourself.
Mhm.
And it's not an act of like, I'm better than you or like meanness. It's more of like what we've spoken about of like maintaining like a level of homeostasis with inside of your body. And sometimes that means creating boundaries with people who are interrupting that.
Yeah.
Boundaries are an act of love for yourself, but also
Really.
for the other person too.
Yeah. And it's just, I think it's so important to mention that it's believed by a lot of us that the way that we grow is by adding. Oh, I need to add this workout regimen. I need to add this new job. I need to add this, you know, hobby or whatever. And we want to add and add and add, when actually the best way to grow is through subtraction.
Hmm.
It's through simplification. It's through taking a really honest, close look at the way you spend your time and cutting out of your life inefficiencies, ways that you are not present. And so before you know it, you've maybe been scrolling on your phone for 40 minutes and you just wasted a lot of time. When we waste time doing things that don't um, light us up, that don't help us get into alignment, um, just we should take a look at them and see if they can be removed from our life. And I think that what I've learned recently is that in order for me to evolve and to grow, it's not always about adding things. It's a lot of times about subtracting things. And for me, that looks like taking a really good, honest look at the use of my time and at the what we just spoke to, like, what kind of environments am I putting myself in, and people surrounding myself with, and how do those have an effect on my energy?
Mhm.
And then habits. Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you, if you really want to grow, if you really want to become the man that you were created to be, take an honest look at your habits and focus more on eliminating any of those habits that are not in alignment with your purpose, not in alignment with your goals and dreams, as opposed to trying to add a new workout regimen or a new diet or a new thing, a new fad. Just take a look at your habits and start eliminating with gentleness and compassion, but just start realizing that you don't always have to add. Sometimes helps more to subtract.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, too, like, people will often say, like, come to me and say, like, "Yeah, I just can't figure out why I'm feeling so, chaotic inside myself, why I'm feeling so just disconnected and, um, not present." And so it's like, okay, well, what are your patterns? What are your habits? And what are your behaviors? What's your screen time? How much time are you spending in nature? Are you self-abandoning? Are you people pleasing? Are you overperforming? Again, like our nervous systems are based upon input and output. And so being super mindful about the input energetically from everything that we are putting our bodies in. Because our bodies will always tell us the truth about ourselves.
Yeah.
And they're always going to send us loving. Doesn't feel like love when it comes in the form of disease or pain
Yeah.
or tension.
That's when they start screaming at you because you didn't listen when they whispered.
Yep.
But they do whisper at first.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually wrote should I read what I wrote a couple months ago about
Yeah.
bodies needing rest?
Yes, please do.
It came to me, like I said, this year has been such a year for me of finding deep rest within myself.
Mhm.
And it was also right around the fall time where I just had I was sitting in meditation and I just these words just started coming through me.
Mm.
So let me find it and I will share this. Okay. Our bodies need rest. Rest from self-judgment and criticism. Rest from toxins and processed foods and sugars. Rest from screens. Rest from conditioning, perfectionism, and performance. Rest from the diversity that separates us and not celebrates us. The rest that they are needing comes in the form of play, of pause, of curiosity, of unconditional love, of water and sunlight, of rhythm and cycles, of earth and connection, of laughter and celebration. Whom do we look to find this kind of nourishing rest? A child. Become as a little child to inherit the kingdom of rest and wholeness within.
Mm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So this is our invitation to our listeners
Yeah.
to create space in your life for deep rest that our bodies are so desperately needing in this world. Um, we've become so detached from our inerrant internal cycles and rhythms, and our bodies are suffering because of it. And yeah, so I hope that we were able to offer some insight and tools that maybe people could start applying to the lives that we have found that have been super helpful to us. But before we close, do you want to talk about your most latest life update and transition and identity upgrade?
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably I was waiting to save maybe the biggest one for last in regards to the way in which I have decided to slow down.
Mm,
And that is that I decided to sell my orthodontic practice.
it's a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah, 25 years, 10 in school and training, and then 15 in private practice. And I went hard. during those 25 years. I went really hard. Um, it was a beautiful journey. Right by my side was you the whole time. So, you've been there with me the whole time. Um, and it may have seemed to most people that it just happened overnight. In fact, we've had a lot of patients reach out and be like, what happened? Like, where did you run off to? It's like, actually, this has been something that has been, and this will segue nicely into our next episode,
Yeah.
because our next episode we're going to talk in depth about how to discover your life's purpose, your life's mission. And so this is something that, just to kind of segue into that just a little bit, definitely did not happen overnight.
Mm-mm.
Also was not something that I was trying to find. It was something that revealed itself into my life, um, as a direct consequence to me finding my truth, aligning myself with my authenticity. And definitely didn't happen overnight. It was something that it was an evolutionary process that I had been feeling for quite some time. And it just worked out beautifully. Grateful to have had the privilege and blessing of having a wonderful partner, Dr. Beckstrom, um, who was very understanding and who very much wanted to um, stay and make the practice grow and be successful. And with me feeling pulled in a different direction, it worked out beautifully,
Mhm.
because our patients are still under the phenomenal care of a wonderful orthodontist. And it freed me up. It gave me the opportunity to pursue some other passions, some other interests, and to continually allow the revealing of my life's mission and my life's purpose. And so I'm so grateful for the time that I was Dr. Burke at Burke Orthodontics, and then later Burke and Beckstrom Orthodontics. So grateful. It was a beautiful experience. And I recognize how privileged and blessed I am for have been afforded that opportunity, to have been given the trust by so many people
Mhm.
to be their orthodontist, to work in their mouths, to straighten their teeth, to give them the smile of their dreams. And in doing that, creating so many beautiful relationships and connections with these amazing people, not only my patients, but my employees. And yeah, it's something that we'll talk about in in future episodes in more depth. But definitely a big transition for us, and a lot of energy and a lot of work went into that journey, into that
Mhm.
chapter of our lives. And although I was very much at peace with the um, closing of that chapter, with the selling my practice and walking away from my practice, man, there were a lot of emotions. It was like, it was several weeks over the past couple of months, especially of like reliving a lot of those memories that we, as a young family in dental school, young children, really not much in the way of what the world would consider wealthy.
Mhm.
Um, but just a beautiful journey, you know, the times in our little apartments with our little kids and the final exams, the board exams, the application processes, the interviews, just everything that went into that journey, the researching where to build a practice,
Mm.
the collaboration with architects and designers and builders. And, whew,
It's a lot that went into it.
so much went into all of that. And I think it's just, you know, a lot of what we talk about here on this platform is rewriting the script. And it just became so clear to me that although what we thought was going to happen, you know, was that, you know, I'd go to school for 10 years, I'm an orthodontist, build my practice, work it for 25, 30 years, whatever, and then retire. And that's usually, that's the way it goes. That's the script. That's the way everybody does it for the most part. Or at least, that's what we signed up for. That's what we thought.
Mhm.
And being able to live a life that is more um, concerned with flow, more concerned with authenticity than it is with how it's supposed to be, how the script was written for me. Even if it was with my own hand, it's okay if I go back and I rewrite it. It's okay if I do things differently than what was expected of me.
Mhm.
And so it just got to a point where, again, filled with so much gratitude and humility for this incredible opportunity that I had, and knowing deep within me that it was time for me to move on.
Mm.
It was a really beautiful experience that we'll elaborate more on in future episodes as we talk about life's mission, life's purpose, and um, alignment with your authentic truth. And I'm just I'm just really grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were an awesome orthodontist, honey. And we had so many cherished memories.
yeah,
Like, you've named some, but only you and I know the depths of our experiences, and it was really beautiful
yeah,
and hard and sometimes very taxing and wondering why we did it in the first place, but
yeah,
that's life, right?
yeah,
It's just lessons learned. And I just want to applaud you at your courage. You know, this took a lot of internal capacity and safety within yourself to be able to do such a huge life transition. And I just applaud you for that. And am super proud of you and excited for what is going to unfold. But this was also a part of like our break. Like we needed this time to recalibrate
yeah,
and to
yeah,
grieve old identities and to give it the respect and the honor that it deserved.
yeah,
I mean, you did a beautiful ceremony with with the practice and shedding that identity
yeah,
that we did together.
yeah,
And there's just so much to be said about like what you so spoke so well of this wasn't the script that we were supposed to follow.
mhm.
But if you know Brandon and I by now, we've rewritten a lot of scripts. And probably most people think we're crazy,
That's okay.
but that's okay. But
And maybe we are.
maybe we are. But this is permission to rewrite your story. I also just want to name that we understand the privilege in you being able to walk away, and we have this buffer zone
Yeah,
between one identity to the next.
right.
Like I understand the privilege and the opportunity that we get to have this buffer zone right now as we make these transitions. But I just want to offer briefly that you can still find a way. And the way is what we've spoken about in this episode, is finding time for rest and clarity so that ideas and opportunities can emerge. If you're wanting to make a life transition, a new career, find a new relationship, explore new avenues of spirituality, you're not going to find that in the doing. It's like you said, you're going to find this in states of rest where your prefrontal cortex can come back online, your amygdala can shut down, and you can be in tune with your intuition and with what is wanting to be born with inside of yourself. So,
Yeah, I just want to say that, we've spoken a lot about it, but we've in the last 4 or 5 years gone through so many life transitions,
mhm,
so much shedding, so much unbecoming, so much evolution that it was a natural part of the process for me. And that's what I mean by like, see, people are often ask me, and we're going to do a whole episode on this. Like I said, we're not going to go into depths, and we're finishing up right now, but finding your purpose, finding your mission,
mhm,
it doesn't happen by like thinking through it. Um, it's not something you like go searching for or that you force. It's not something that you actually find. It's something that's revealed to you. It's something that just comes to you,
yeah, unfolds.
unfolds for you. Your purpose shows up when you live at your edge, when you live in alignment with your authentic truth, when your devotion to truth supersedes everything else. You no longer are searching for validation, approval, or like acceptance in that way that like you know, if you're forcing, if you're searching and you're trying so hard, you're thinking about, you're in your head about it all the time, it's not gonna happen that way. At least that's been my experience. And yeah, I just want to say that like it's it's been it's been very clear to me that like the the man that built that orthodontic practice, I'm not that man anymore. And so I think it just was a natural part of the evolutionary process for me to um to understand that there's a different direction that I want to go in.
Mhm,
You know?
yeah,
When the devotion to truth is so great that you don't any longer, you look at things like, I want to do what really lights me up in a way that, um, if I were to fail, I'd still be okay. If no one applauded me, I'll still be okay. If no one even recognizes me or sees me, I'm still going to be okay because I'm following my truth.
mm,
So I think that we'll talk a lot more about that in an episode that we'll do on finding your purpose and your life's mission. But
yeah,
um, yeah, it's been quite a ride.
quite a ride. Super proud of you, hun.
Thank you.
Yeah, can't wait to see what's going to unfold. We're still in the cocoon phase,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
yeah,
It's a good place to be when you just allow it and you don't resist it, you know?
yeah,
So yeah, thank you to our listeners who are still here with us and have stuck around, and we don't know what the future holds. I mean, we're kind of just doing this podcast in a way that feels aligned and true to us. We're going to keep going at it for a little while, but we'll see. We're
yeah.
just doing life as the way that it feels good to us.
Yeah.
So Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Free to be me, free to sing, sweet feathers and let me light